first question, so Mr. Dzhyhun, with Mr. Smart, we are talking about everything, the topic, the issue about the American aid to Ukraine. Of course, this is the topic number one, and topic number two, the upcoming election in USA and in Russia, by the way. And my question for you will be like, is there even a chance that the world may not recognize the election in Russia? What do you think?
I think that actually one of the main chances after these elections, because countries, democratic countries in the world, they know that there are no elections in Russia. It's even not re-election, it's reappointment of Putin as the president of Russia. And most probably that democratic countries like the US or European countries will say that Putin is illegal leader of Russia, where is no democratic movements, where no other competitors and other candidates for the presidency. And we know that even taking into account that there are some special new territories of Russia, kind of Khersonska Oblast, Zaporizhia, and the other regions of Ukraine, they're going to have these elections even on the occupied Ukrainian territories. And it's one more reason why civilized world should not recognize these elections and recognize Putin as a new president of Russia. And we basically can say that there are no cases in the world, in democratic world, where one person can lead the country for more than 20 years. And that's actually what happens in Russia and Belarus. And I think that it obviously shows that there are no free elections and there are not elections at all. That's just reappointments.
Yeah, reappointment, you are right. So everyone, by the way, everyone predict what will happen with American aid if Trump, for example, Trump will become the next president, or any Republicans, but there are no forecasts. If a Democrat will remain the president, why? Why these discussions never raised? So first, please, Mr. Smart.
Well, Joe Biden's the candidate for the Democrats, so I don't think it'll change if he's elected. It'll probably be the same as it is now. Now, it is possible that he chooses someone else, which is what I think you're referring to, right before the elections. He's going to go through the primaries. He will win them. But there is a chance that he could choose somebody else to be the candidate for the Democratic Party. He could say it's because of his age.
Who it can be, could be.
Gavin Newsom from California, somebody who they talk about a lot. But there's several different options. But the fact is it would probably be somebody that's younger generation for sure than Biden is. Maybe somebody that's probably further to the left than Biden is in order to appease their base, which is sort of factured at this point. But overall, I think that there is a very good chance that whoever were to come to power would still be very supportive of Ukraine.
Yeah. Mr. Dzhyhun, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. So we're talking about what will happen with the American aid to Ukraine if the Democrat will stay in the House.
Actually, I think that it will depend on the situation.
Will it be maybe increase of this aid?
I think that it will very much depend on the result of parliamentary election. We know that the US is super presidential state, but on the other hand, it's the country where are different branches of power, and any decision of president can be vetoed by parliament or judicial system. So the results of election will depend on the presidential election. And taking into account the results of this election, we'll know who will be in the new Congress and if there will be majority of Democrats or Republicans. And then we will better know if it's possible to get more help from the US for Ukraine. But I should say that American support is crucial for Ukraine. And this is an existential problem for us, not getting this money. So I'm pretty sure that American society, and especially political sphere, political leaders of the US, they know that we depend very much on their support, and even in context of Ukrainian budget, not only on the battlefield, because these days we receive information from Ukrainian parliament, from Ukrainian government, and Ukrainian officials say that if we don't get this support from the US, that will mean that beginning of the next year, we will not have enough money to pay to our doctors, to our teachers, and to other people who work for Ukrainian state. And that's really a tough situation. But at the same time, I hope that American politicians will make a good decision regarding Ukrainian support and support of other countries as well.
I'd like to ask Mr. Smart, who else but Nikki Haley can compete with Trump?
I mean, I like Nikki Haley very much. I think she's a great candidate, and she's absolutely right in her views about Russia. Actually, in foreign policy as a whole, I think she's right on a lot of issues. And she's very smart, she's very well qualified, and she's a great candidate. That being said, I think she does face a very uphill battle. In the polling, she has about 10% support, 11% support, whereas Donald Trump has 61% support. When you're losing by 50 points in an election, it's not even close. Keep in mind, the primaries begin on January 15th.
Yeah,
we're only about a month away. So when you're, I guess, 5 weeks. So if you're 5 weeks away, and we have Christmas coming and New Year's coming where nothing is happening, so there's really less than 5 weeks. There's perhaps 3 weeks left to really try to make an impact with Americans. She's going to have a very hard time to gain 50 points in the course of 3 weeks.
Yeah. So, and my last question, gentlemen, for both of you. In general, next year will be a record year for elections in the world history. About half of the Earth's population will vote. Beside the United States, which election should be closely followed? What do you think, Mr. Smart?
Which election? Well, you know, I would say
Russia.
the Russian elections. Well, that's probably going to be the most humorous one to watch because it's so obvious what's going to happen. Russia doesn't have elections.
Yeah.
But more to that point, I think what's going to...
I think this is the USA. The USA, all over the world will be, with heart beating, will be looked at all these processes.
Well, not because I'm an American, but certainly the American election is the most important because there is no other single country that has as much influence. And it's not just the president's election. 2024 is important because, yes, the president will be elected, but you also have a third of the senators will be up for election, as well as all the congressmen will be up for election. So this is going to be a significant election. So if the House of Representatives changes hands, becomes Democrat, or if the Senate, just a few seats change, or the president becomes Donald Trump, the dynamics of the entire world politic could definitely change. So yes, I would actually say the American elections are by far the most important.
Yeah, and Mr. Dzhyhun, what do you think? Which election should be closely followed, and which of them will have a tangible effect on the world order? What do you think?
First of all, of course, this is American election. We understand that American society is, gradually entering the next year presidential and congressional election campaign, and the stakes of these elections, they are very high, not just because of the tight poll rates, but also because of the extremely large influence that the next president and the next convocation of Congress will make on the future of the world, not only Ukraine. And the main issue is that Ukraine has become one of the most important and key topics of this election campaign for both parties. And that's why we see this tough situation regarding the polls rates and in general, the situation in the US. Of course, I would like to say that European elections are, I think, maybe a little bit less, but still important for Ukraine. At the moment in Europe, there is growth of Euroscepticism and far-right movements. But therefore, it is important for Ukraine that next head of, for example, European Commission or European Parliament will be pro-Ukrainian. And the same situation is with the election of next NATO secretary. Of course, we know that most of these candidates who will run for the position of the secretary of the NATO are, European-thinking people. They are pro-Ukrainian, but still these elections are very important for us. And we see a very difficult situation in many European countries like Netherlands, where populist Wilders won the election, and probably he will be the next prime minister. But at the same time, we should understand it's just political cycle, and everything changes quite fast. And we should not be scared of the possible results of all these elections, because we know that European system, political system, and American political system, they have this principle of check and balances, and that's very, very important in the situation when we can have American president who is not pro-Ukrainian, for example, or who has a very radical political views on many issues.